for 2.7 and 2.8 was I can write geometric proofs. That's dealing with segments and angles. We're going to leave segments behind for a moment because maybe if we take a break, it'll come together. Thank you so much. Now, angles. Why did we add these two together and set it equal to 180 on this first problem? Because it's a linear pair, and that means that they make a line. And what's the sum of a line?
180.
180. Good. Take a point. And then we substituted in because they gave us the measure of angle 2, right? And then we subtracted so that we can get angle 1. Now, you guys know how to do this without doing a proof. You could add those together without me. All proofs are doing is asking you to write down step by step what we did. So why did we say that this was 90? Why did they say that? Because it's a complementary angle. It's a right angle, and we know that because of that little what? Because of that box. If that box wasn't there, we wouldn't know for sure. It could be 89.7 for all we know. So what we're going to do now is we are going to prove this, and we're going to be okay if we don't necessarily get it the first time. Is everybody ready?
Yes.
All right. So it says, write a 2-column proof for this. It tells us that angle ABC and CBD are complementary. So what does that mean? No. If they're complementary, what does that mean?
Equal 90.
That's 90. So that means, let's draw a little box right here. That means that ABD is 90 degrees. Do we agree with that?
Yes.
Okay. Then it says that DBE and CBD form a right angle. So what's the measure of CBE?
90.
90. So let's draw a bigger box around that. Now, before we go any further, how many total angles do you see in that picture? Don't scream it out. Just look for a moment and then tell me.
3.
I think 5 as well. You have this one right here, correct? So that's 1. And then you have 2. And then you have 3. And then you have this one is 4. This one is 5. Ooh, and then you have 6. So if you said 6, you were right. Take a point. All right, now, let's start with our first statement. It says the angle ABC and CBD are complementary, and these two form a right angle. Why do we know that?
Because it tells us it's given.
So that's our given. So in step 1, it told us that DBE and CBD form a right angle, right?
Yes.
That means that they are what type of angles? That means they're complementary. So this says that angle DBE, it says they're complementary. How do we know that?
Because they equal 90.
Because that's the definition of right angles. Now, in our given, what do they have in common?
They equal 90. CBD.
They have CBD in common. So can't we take this part and this part out and put it together?
Yes.
Yes. And what property is that? Transitive property. Dun, 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 dun. That's all you had to do. Now, does everybody see where we got transitive from?
Yes.
Now, wouldn't normally we write that these two angles are equal and then congruent?
Yes.
But it's okay that they skip that. They just think they're fancy. Does everybody understand how we got there?
We get to write QED.
Would you like to write QED?
Yes.
Let's do it. What's that face for, Heather?
Let's keep it stand.
Okay, do you want to walk through it again?
But like, I'll just like.
Are you sure we can walk through it one more time? You want to just leave this one for a moment? Okay. All right, let's look at number 1 then. So what does it tell us in number 1? What's the first given? Let's just walk through it step by step. Okay, so what does it mean if two lines are perpendicular?
They equal 90 right angle.
They meet at a right angle. So that's this line right here, correct? And this line right here. So what angle is 90 degrees? Everybody just breathe for a moment before we say it. Take 5 whole seconds before we say it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Look at us go, tater tots. Put a box around that. Now, does everybody see how we got that?
Yes.
Okay? Now, let's go with this. Angle 1 and angle 3 are complementary. So what does that mean about those two angles?
They equal 90.
They add up to equal 90. So let's write that out to the side. Angle 1 plus angle 3 equals what? 90 degrees. Say it to me again.
It doesn't equal 90 degrees.
I'm moving on. Now, what is it asking us to prove?
Yes, let's prove that angle 2 and angle 3 are congruent.
Okay, now, before we look at anything with our proof, okay, I want you to think about why they would say that.
Because it has a line.
I don't know what you just said.
Because the line BC.
No.
I doubt that. I'm wrong.
Well, yeah, kind of. It does cut it in half, but I want you to tell me why they think that. What do angle 1 and 2 and 1 and 3 have in common?
Angle 2,
Right. And what else do they have in common? They both equal what?
90.
90. So if they have angle 2 in common and they have 90 in common, that must mean that these two are congruent. Now let's prove that. Let's start here. Segment AB is perpendicular to BC. We know that by given. So then what would we say?
We'll say
This is the definition of perpendicular lines. So what would we know?
they form a right angle. They meet at a right angle.
What is the definition of perpendicular lines? They meet at 90, right? So what would we say meets at 90?
A, B, B, C.
Isn't that what they said there? So what would we need for B? Are you shook? Are you like a shaker? Are you like a salt shaker? Well, what? I can't deal with y'all in this shooketh crap. It makes me so dang angry. Do we know that angle 1 plus angle 2 is 90?
Yes.
So could we say that angle 1 plus angle 2 equals 90?
No.
We could say that. And then it tells us that the measure of ABC is 90 degrees by the definition of right angles. We're cool with that.
Okay,
I'm sorry, are you not entertained? So then, what did they do here?
Substitution.
They substituted. And then they substituted again. What did they plug in from D to E?
1. I mean, 3 and 2.
Look at it. What did they plug in from D to E?
90.
They plugged in 90. And why did they plug in 90?
Because ABC.
Okay, does everybody see that?
Yes.
Are we sure?
Yes.
What don't you see? Okay, baby. You see where it tells us right here that the measure of angle ABC is 90, right? Okay. And then, let's pretend like I highlighted this in blue. And then we have the measure of angle ABC right here, correct? So what could we replace ABC with? 90. Because what does ABC equal, baby? You with me? Okay. Does that help now that we've highlighted? Okay. All right, angle 1 and angle 2 are complementary. How do you know that?
Definition of right angles.
Now, ultimately, what are we trying to prove?
Angle 2 is congruent to angle 3.
Okay? So, what do we know next that's our given?
AB is perpendicular. to
Nope,
BC.
that was our first given. What's our second given that they tell us?
Angle 1 and angle 3 are complementary.
Angle 1 and angle 3 are complementary.
Can I just put our comp?
Mm-hmm. Oh, Blair, learn how to write. Now, what do these two have in common?
They are complementary.
What else do they have in
Equal
common?
90. They equal 90.
What else do they have in common?
Remember,
What else do they have in common?
they equal 90.
I'm pointing at what they have in common.
Oh, angle 2 and angle 3.
Angle 1. And what did they replace that with?
Angle 2. Angle 3, I mean.
Oh my gosh. If they have it in common, we take it out and slide those together. What is that called? Transitive. Sweet potatoes.
They call it
Pardon? Is that really what you want to say?
I might. It is more difficult than everything.
No, you know,
About what? This is really making your life that difficult? We're just adding some angles together.
It's not holding me anymore. I get it. I'm just.
If this is the most difficult thing that you ever have to do in your life, you're going to have an easy life.
It's not like the most difficult thing.
You can do it, baby. I have all kinds of faith in you. You're just lazy. You're very smart. You're lazy. Don't stress about it.
I have no idea what's happening.
Okay. Are you ready to walk through it again?
Yes.
Can you look at it while we do it? I know, baby, but sometimes you just kind of wander off because I watch you to make sure because you're right in my
I get
eye.
it when you're telling me, but I don't get it when I'm doing it on my own.
I don't know what to tell y'all about that. Can you just imagine my voice in your head telling you what to do?
Yeah. Screaming sweet potatoes.
like I think.
And then I'm by myself, and then I'm just like, whoa.
Okay, well then let's look at number 2. Let's see if we can look at the second one.
We got this candy.
Just look at number 2.
What is this supple theorem?
Supplementary angles. Now, I just want you to look at the given. Can everybody just take a moment and look at the given? Cover up everything else if you need to, but look at the given.
Oh wait, I covered up the given.
This is given.
It's a lot of numbers.
Okay, it is, but let's just start with the first part. What does it tell us about angle 1 and angle 2?
They are collinear.
They're
Equal
linear.
180.
They're linear pair.
They're a linear pair, and that means that they equal 180.
Yes.
Okay? Now, what does it also tell us about angle 1 and angle 3?
They
They
are
also
equal
equal
180.
180.
Okay, now let's think about something. We have... I can't walk up there. Just watch, okay? This is what this says, that the measure of angle 1 plus the measure of angle 2 is what?
180.
180. So that's these two right here, correct? And then it tells us that the measure of angle 1 plus the measure of angle 3 equals what?
180.
Okay,
So much for 2 and 3.
if they equal the same thing, what could we do with those? Ignore the proof part. I want you to tell me what you think we could do with these.
I mean, cancel them out.
They're equal to the same thing, right?
Yes. So in
We could set them equal to each other. Good, take a point. Because they are both equal to 180, you take them and set them equal to each other. Right?
Yes.
Does everybody see what I did there? Are we sure? We're ignoring the proof part and making sure we understand this basic concept.
yes.
Okay? Now from there, I cancel out the measure of angle 1, right? How would I do that? You subtract it. You would kill it. You would get rid of it. It's dead. It's gone. We don't care about it anymore. What is left over?
Angle 2 and angle 3. And that is true.
Now, does everybody understand what we just did?
Yes.
Are we sure?
Yes.
Now, all we're going to do with this now is we're going to add some words to it. Now, tell me, why do you know that angle 1 plus angle 2 gives us 180?
Because
Because it's given. Form a line.
Because they form a line. So that's the definition of what? Linear pair. Okay? Are we okay so far?
Yes.
Now, we also know that these two equal 180 because it told us that, right?
Yes.
Those aren't a linear pair, but it told us that. And then, what did we do from here?
We set them equal to
We set them equal to each other. We substituted because we know they equal the same thing. All right, if we don't get off our cell phones, I'm going to lose it and keep all of yours for every single day from now on. Do we understand? Now, then we subtracted. Now, tonight, take this and what we just did. Finish 2.7 notes and 2.8 notes. Try them. You will survive. If you have questions, what should you do tomorrow?
Come to you.
Come to 0 period. Email me. Message me on Remind. But take ownership of your education and not just depend on me.
What if I die?
Don't die.
Sucks for you. I want